whenever I drive down like this corner, usually laying down like on a what's it called, a blanket, and it's at like 11 o'clock p.m.
Donnie Sullivan says for the past 6 months, he would notice this man, 18-year-old Logan Smith, lying on a blanket on the side of the road near Kings Highway.
Scary, I guess, because I was thinking about like going for jogs, but now I don't know about around this neighborhood, so.
Bruh, I got this crazy story, recent story out of Florida, Cocoa Beach. It's not Cocoa ickEdMeL, it's Cocoa. Okay, you gotta enunciate the A for us to whatever. No, I think it's Cocoa because I looked it up, right? Cocoa. Anyway, we're gonna look at the arrest affidavit with all the details regarding this situation, and it just made me think so much of the many times that I go out jogging on my own, though lately I've just been going straight to the gym. But there's many times that I will go around my neighborhood, sometimes even at night. And it's reminded me also of other previous stories. And this is just another cautionary tale of the crazy times we're in. Even though this has always happened, I feel like these instances are occurring more. This guy was watching this other man, a man watching another man for 6+ weeks, planning on taking him against his will, strangling him. He had a blanket laid out in front of his house. This guy wasn't homeless. That's not why he was laying out there in the streets. It's so he could pretend to do whatever and be watching this other person. This other person that got jumped, this guy jumped out of behind a pole, tries to like strangle him. He had a rubber mallet. This guy said he never seen him. And it just reminds me of so many other stories. And it's just to be careful in this day and age. Men, you're not safe either. Men are targets as well. You could argue, though, that maybe had this been a woman, depending on the circumstances, because there's a lot of tough ladies out there. But just, you know, had this been a woman, maybe their circumstances could have been different, possibly. Maybe that person wouldn't have gone away. And so anyway, here's the arrest, probable cause, affidavit. Okay, Smith Logan William. He's an 18-year-old guy. On the above date and time, deputies responded to the area of Batavia. It's Batavia. And Kings Highway in Cocoa, Florida, in reference to a battery. When deputies arrived, they learned that the defendant had strangled the person with a ligature, and the person was able to defend themselves and detain the defendant until deputies arrived. The defendant gathered items to include a rubber mallet, an aerosol Axe deodorant can, a clothing robe belt, and a bed sheet. Supposedly, this Axe can thing was supposed to like spray the guy to blind him. And the mallet, I guess, was to hit him. The defendant proceeded to take the items outside of his residence, where he laid out the bed sheet in the driveway between the two parked cars of his residence. So this guy has this bed sheet in front of his own house, the perpetrator, so that when his plan was, he had everything planned out. He had like weeks, months to plan this stuff out. His plan was to like knock this guy over the head, blind him or whatever, drag him, take him, lay him down on these bed sheets. And he was also planning on putting this guy in a closet and storing him in the closet. The defendant walked directly across his street where he hid behind a light pole. He placed the mallet and the Axe aerosol on the ground next to him while he waited for it says the defendant, but they meant to say, I think the guy that was targeted, to come running down the street as he did regularly for exercise. The defendant waited for this guy to come running past the light pole and then proceeded to run after him. The defendant then tossed the clothing robe belt over the person's head until it was around the front area of his neck. The defendant proceeded to pull the ligature tight around the person's neck for several seconds, which caused visible physical injury to the person. The injury had red marks and lines which are consistent with being strangled by a ligature. The person was pulled from a running stance to an immediate stop. The defendant pulled the ligature tight around his neck for several seconds until the person was finally able to free himself, where he detained the defendant until the deputies arrived on scene. So I read that this guy had like martial arts training, the guy that was being targeted. And so he kind of like turned it around on this person. That could be another factor too, that he was able to kind of overcome this person. Upon speaking with the person that was targeted, he stated that he specifically runs about 4 times a week and has never met the defendant, seen him, nor spoken to him. He stated that he was jogging with his earphones on and listening to music when he stated out of nowhere he realized he was being choked. He immediately realized what was happening and reverted to his martial arts training. He explained the pressure was enough to understand that blood flow was being restricted and he had to defend himself. Wow, quick acting. That might have been the thing that saved him. Had it been a person that had no kind of training to defend themselves in that kind of situation, and that stuff, the restriction can happen super quick that you just pass out, right? During a post Miranda interview with the suspect, he stated that he first saw this person approximately 6 weeks ago and began watching his routine as he exercised, which consisted of the person running past the defendant's house. He explained that he had made the decision to kill the person tonight on 1/17/2022 after watching a movie which showed very violent acts of murder and other homicidal scenes. He planned on killing the person by strangulation, dragging his body to the driveway and onto the bed sheet. He planned on using the bed sheet to assist him with further pulling the person's body into the residence, specifically into his bedroom. He further planned to place the person's body into his closet, where the defendant stated no one would know and the defendant could have the person's body all to himself. The defendant stated he also planned to play with the person to fulfill his fantasies. He explained that his intention was to kill the person, that he had been wanting to kill him, and that he had every intention to do so. He told me that he got unlucky because the person was stronger than he was. That's what I was talking about, where, you know, had it not been somebody that had the martial arts training, or maybe if it was a woman, you know, like I said, there's a lot of tough ladies out there. Some of these ladies are carrying, some of these ladies know how to fight back and all sorts of stuff too. But had it been maybe a lady, he might have had a better chance. When the defendant was asked why he carried the mallet and aerosol can to where he was hiding, he explained that the mallet would be used to strike the person and the aerosol would be used to spray in the person's eyes, disabling his vision. Based upon the facts on this investigation, the defendant did in fact attempt to murder this person and placing a ligature around his neck against the person's will. The defendant made a calculated decision to follow through while attempting to murder this person by not only acting, but having several different items to assist with the act. Bruh.
Even if you're not a trained fighter, though, experts say you can still save your own life.
If you're a jogger who's running the same pattern every day, same time, you know, you're opening yourself up to being profiled as such.
For joggers, one thing you can consider, switching up your routine.
Make space. If you can't get away and you have to fight hard, like your life depends on it, because it just might.
That's some pretty wild stuff, man. Like I said, I was thinking about all the times that I go jogging, and a lot of the times when I was going jogging in my neighborhood, it was really the same routine. And yeah, I have my headphones on, and you really have it takes away from your sense of hearing, which is really important. Also, sometimes, which I don't really jog anymore around here anymore, I go to the gym, but sometimes at night I like to do a little bit of extra workout lately, and so I do this jump rope and I have my headphones on, and I can't lie, yo, last night I was doing some jump rope and I was thinking, I kept seeing things, but I actually did see like a cat scatter away. But then I was thinking like of Nina and Lisa. I was imagining, I don't know why these crazy women come up in my head, but I was thinking like, yo, like they could roll up on me. Like I can't even hear anything. I have these headphones on. If you guys are curious about some other stories that I've talked about and covered, this one here is really interesting. And this is about a guy that was stalking this jogger here in Florida. And this guy has a crazy history, which I didn't talk about it in this video. I had all the PDFs, the files, the court records. This guy, so he got caught for this. But what happened was, in the city, there was a bunch of different allegations against this guy. And what happened was there was police reports, right? Of people reporting, hey, there's this guy in this car. He's doing his thing out in the open. He's like looking at people. Allegedly, he was doing this by schools, and like different people would walk by and see him, but they never pinned down who this guy was until he got caught up with this situation. That's his face right there, where he actually got out the car this time. He was in his car doing his thing. He knew this woman's pattern because she would go the same route every day. He gets out, runs after her, starts chasing her. She's running, and she says that she literally felt his hand, like his fingers just grasped, like, you know, but he just missed and she got away. So be really careful out there when you're running, jogging, or you're in the same routine that you do every day. Another interesting video that I covered a while back, this was about men being targeted. I like to kind of flip things and change it up a little bit. This was really interesting. It was mostly South Florida stories of men that, you know, they think they're having a good time. They go out, they meet some lady, they put something in their drink. You even have this person that was dressing up and targeting men. And these guys would pass out and they'd wake up and all their money's gone. Like, let's say you pass out and your phone's locked, but you have maybe like your eye scan. They could just boop, they scan your eye. Maybe it's your fingerprint or whatever. They'd empty out all their accounts. And a lot of these guys were like embarrassed to even come forward. Really interesting video. I'll put the links to that down below. And last but not least, check out one of my infamous crazy videos where I went to this abandoned house in Opelika, Miami. I went to this place where 3 bodies were dumped. They were shot execution style. 1 person survived and got away. We have never heard from him since. And where the bodies were dumped in the backyard, I went over there because I was just curious. Sometimes I go on the ground. There happened to be this abandoned house right where the bodies were dumped. And in that neighborhood, this is the only place that's abandoned, which was just creepy to me. It just felt like it had to be a reason why these people decided to pick this spot to dump the bodies, you know? So I'll put the link for that down below too if you're curious and bored and you want to see some of the extra things that I've done. Fox 35 Orlando did report that they spoke to a family member of this guy, Smith Logan, or a close family friend, and that they stated that Smith had some issues when he was younger and he was diagnosed with 2 mental health disorders. And so they were saying it's the system's fault and yada, yada. Yo, listen, I get it. But at the same time, I can't let your mental health take my life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people need help. These are crazy times. Yeah. One final thing, and this is for Andrew. Andrew left me this comment. I used to hear veranda as a Russian word, as very often words coming from one language to another, hard to understand in what language it appeared at the first time. And for Andrew that left me this comment, I had to laugh about this because yesterday I was in the car with my daughter and I sent this message to somebody because a lot of people were correcting me on the pronunciation of this word, this Australian word, which is basically just a porch of a house. So check this out. This is kind of funny.
Veranda. 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 We gotta do it like Australian, right? What do Australians talk like, huh? Veranda. Veranda. Veranda.
And I just wanted to show you some of the porch comments and just a quick thank you to the people, all you guys that really just come through, leave me the comments, support, correct me, or even have fun with it. I really appreciate it. More commonly known as a porch. Somebody here said awning, ver like her, and what? Veranda. Okay. Veranda, porch. It's called porch in Texas. I loved it, man. Yo, so thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, leave me a comment. If you haven't seen Virginia's video I posted earlier, definitely check it out. I'll put the link down below. Take care of yourselves and peace. Peace. Adios. Hard Rock.
The Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, where 3 men say they were drugged. The women reported they stole a Rolex, gold chain, and $5,000 in cash.
Damn.
And it's not just women robbing men. Sometimes it's even men dressed as women.
Woo!